Hey guys, and welcome back to Bloke Box. If you've seen any other Bloke Box videos, you'll at this point be well acquainted with the various different male personality types, particularly the Sigma male. You may already be well acquainted with the more famous of the personality types that make up the hierarchy, such as alpha males and beta males. But in fact, there is far more to it than just that. The spectrum of male behaviour is broad, and the hierarchy is home to more types than just alpha and beta, such as delta, omega, and gamma. Gamma males are those who fall fourth in rank in the sociosexual hierarchy, below alphas, betas, and deltas. Sigmas rank outside of the hierarchy. In today's Bloke Box video, we're going to be breaking down everything there is to know about the gamma male. From his typical behaviour to how you can spot if you or someone else around you might be one. Stay tuned to learn if you qualify as a gamma male. Number 1. The gamma male explained. Before we dive into the traits of a gamma male, let's talk a bit about the term itself. Put lightly, being identified as a gamma is not something most men would typically want. Gammas are low-ranking on the sociosexual hierarchy and tend to have a less than impressive track record with women. What's important to remember is that while a man's position in the hierarchy is determined by his relationships with others, it is his behaviour that creates those relationships. One's position in the hierarchy is not a God-given trait. It can change and evolve over time, so don't worry if you find yourself identifying with some or all of the traits that define a gamma male. Recognizing yourself or someone close to you as being a gamma is a perfect opportunity for self-reflection and making valuable changes. After all, life is all about growth and learning. So being a gamma today can serve as the perfect motivation for becoming an alpha or a sigma tomorrow. It's all a matter of behavior and choices. The traits that are typically displayed by gamma males include number 2, high intelligence. To start on a positive note, gammas tend to possess a high degree of intelligence. They are naturally smart people and find it easy to get to grips with complex concepts. Often their naturally high intelligence will allow them to quickly excel in their chosen field, and gammas will become valuable members of whatever teams they choose to become a part of. Unfortunately, their high intelligence and dedication to their hobbies or profession can often take over the place of a healthy social life, and sometimes lead them to developing poor social skills and suffering from bouts of loneliness. Number 3. They have a high opinion of themselves. One of the most recognizable traits of gamma males is the high regard that they hold themselves in. Rather than face the reality of their low standing in the sociosexual hierarchy of dominance, gammas will often focus on their positive qualities, such as their intelligence, and convince themselves that they are in fact alphas or sigmas. Unfortunately, performing these mental gymnastics only fails to show them where their struggles truly lie, and prevents them from making valuable change and growing out of their position of gamma. Number 4. They follow rather than lead. Even though they like to think of themselves as dominant members of society, in reality, gammas tend to follow a lot more than they lead. In truth, they are rather inexperienced when it comes to making the kind of confident, executive decisions that a natural leader finds themselves taking on a regular basis. Number 5. They lack social skills. Due to the fact that they kid themselves as to the reality of their social standing and spend more time than they'd like to admit hiding themselves away from the world, gammas tend to possess poor social skills. Despite their delusions, deep down they are aware of this fact, and it often leaves them feeling lonely or frustrated. Number 6. They obsess over the opposite sex. One of the biggest hallmark traits of the gamma is obsessing over the opposite sex. This is in part due to the fact that these men rarely get the opportunity to have a chance with the opposite sex. They tend to idealize the women who show them attention, and find themselves becoming lost in a fantasy of who she is, rather than actually get to know her and build a genuine connection. Gammas love to live in a world of fiction that teaches men that the key to a woman's heart is to simply be nice to her. Often they employ this nice guy method only to end up friend-zoned and become incredibly frustrated if the woman of his affections doesn't reciprocate his feelings. Number 7. They see themselves as hopeless romantics. An extension of the Gamma's tendency to obsess over the opposite sex is the tendency for them to see themselves as lovable, hopeless romantics. They place themselves above other men who they believe only want women for sex and status and fail to see them for the rich and beautiful creatures they truly are. Herein lies the major problem of the Gamma male, however. In seeing women as these majestic creatures, Gammas are in fact performing the exact kind of objectification they slander other men for. They look at women as vending machines of sorts, that, should you put in enough tokens of kindness, will return you with sex or affection. Gammas possess a toxic idea of romance that fails to acknowledge that women are complex human beings and might, quite simply, just not be into you, no matter how much praise you shower them with. Number 8. They deny their faults. Gammas are notoriously terrible at admitting their own faults. They're experts at performing mental gymnastics that allow them to see themselves as being in the right and everyone else in the wrong. A major component of this is believing that they are in fact alpha males or sigma males, when to the outside they are quite clearly the opposite. Rather than admit their faults, they would rather see themselves as always being in the right and have a major internal ego shield that allows them to always see themselves as the hero in any situation. Number 9. They harbor resentment. As we have seen, there is quite a dissonance in how the Gamma sees himself versus how society around him sees him. While a Gamma believes that he is the most intelligent and capable man in a room, he is more often than not simply kidding himself. Deep down, a Gamma is usually aware of the fact that he is somewhat delusional, but rather than dedicating himself to changing his Gamma behaviors, he will instead stay put and allow himself to develop a deep yet burning sense of resentment towards the men he wishes he were more like. Furthermore, despite painting the opposite sex as saints and angels, Gamma males tend to harbor resentment for any women that reject them, seeing them as stupid for missing out on what he believes is a man of high esteem. Number 10. They see life as unfair. All of this dissonance between how a Gamma sees himself and how the world around him sees him leaves Gammas to believe that life is unfair and, for some reason, stacked against them. They struggle to own up and take responsibility for their faults, and instead place the blame on life being unfair and make everyone but themselves the onus of their suffering. Now, for our final Gamma male trait, we're going to end on a more positive note. But before we get onto that, please take a second to head down and hit the like button if you're enjoying the video so far. It goes a long way in helping us to grow the channel and shows us what kind of Bloke Box content you guys want to see more of. Now onto our final positive Gamma male trait. Number 11. They are kind and empathetic. For all their flaws, Gamma males are, at the end of the day, kind and empathetic men. They have a large capacity for care and like to devote their energy towards making others happy. This genuinely good core that lies at the heart of Gammas is their key toward growth and becoming more empowered members of society and ascending the ranks of the socio-sexual dominance hierarchy. So, those are the basics of the Gamma male. Sound familiar? If you feel that you or someone you know might be a Gamma, don't worry. What matters is how you respond to this realization. If you sit back and allow yourself to continue behaving the way you are, you will never rise in the social ranks. But should you use this realization as a catalyst for change, it may help you realize just exactly what you need to work on to better yourself and your social standing. The difference is in your hands. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the rest of the channel for more great content. And I'll see you next time.